Hello and welcome everyone to the grand finals of the Time Wizard April 2010 format Ultimate Time Wizard Tournament from Birmingham, held at the YCS in Birmingham at the beginning of 2025, almost 15 years later than the actual April 2010 format. And again here, Leonard König and myself, Sebastian Lemke, bringing you the casting for this exciting final. And we see the Machina deck that we already saw in top 8 and also in top 4, of course, now trying to take it all down. They have won the 2 matches, but they want to win this one match now, the most desperate one, because they need to win the entire tournament. And they're up against Frogs. Leo, what do you expect from Frogs here? Kind of lately the arguably most played and best deck in the format?
Yeah, I would agree. Black Wings also hold up against it quite well, but Frogs, they have a lot of steam behind them. People have figured out how to play it. Soul Exchange is being used in multiple ways other than just summoning out Monarchs. You buy yourself some time just with any Frog, basically, or with the access to Substitute, rather. It's a very strong deck. I'm curious to see if the deck can be run down by the Machina deck. There is a Machina Fortress being discarded with the Machina Force and then summoned from the graveyard. You didn't quite see it like that, because players are very used to just summoning the card out immediately, but that's what happened. Both cards were sent to the graveyard and then Fortress was summoned out from the graveyard. Or you could, no, actually you can just summon it from hand in this situation, because you discard the Force that has level 10.
Yeah, you summon it out from hand. But that's a turbo start here from the Machina player, right? Already halving almost the life points of the Frog player. But the Frog player with many cards in hand here. But it's a lot of spell cards. And I mean, one of the cards he is running is actually Moray of Greed. And that only does something when you...
It's live now.
Oh yeah, when you have 2 other water monsters alongside it in the hand. And I think we just picked up the second one, right? As you were saying.
And the Reckless Greed is set as well, so there's plenty of steam. Reckless Greed is such a all-in card that denies you from drawing in your next 2 draw phases, but you also get 2 draws from the deck. I like it that he activates it before the Moray of Greed, because D3S Frog and Dupe Frog are not the cards that you want to necessarily draw, so you activate this card before you put them back into your deck.
Yeah. And there is the Moray of Greed. So some decks, like Frog Hero we saw in this tournament, and also Frog Monarch, they're going to play a small-ish Frog package. But this is purely just a Frog deck. He's playing so many different ones of them, and he's giving up on the Swap Frog here, on the Treeborn Frog, actually.
And we're keeping the D3S Frog. Oh no, it's just the Death Frog, right? The D3S is the fusion that you played in Tier Elements for a month.
Yes. Exactly, so
we're keeping that in hand. Wonder why that is, because this is a Frog variant unlike no other. It plays Dandelion, the triple copies of Fishborg Blaster. And this, we pick up a Reckless Greed here, another Moray, and a Flip-Flop Frog.
Oh yeah, and look, the way he's holding his hand there, he's basically saying, I'm having trouble to hold all of those cards. Can you help me? But the Machina player is like, no, I'm busy having those strong machine monsters on the field. And I mean, it's the best feeling ever when you already resolved Reckless Greed to draw into another one, right? Because that is just so free. Oh, and we go for another Moray of Greed. Now, this time giving up on the Death Frog. And can we draw the 3rd Reckless Greed? I'm calling it now. He's going to draw another one. It is going to happen.
That would be insane if he even gets another turn, because he now needs to start putting stuff to the field. It's very well played by our Machina player to apply pressure immediately, because if you give the Frog Synchro deck a lot of time to set up, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. And now those are some cards in the hand. Swap Frog and Dandelion. There's probably something you can do with those. I think there's a double Pot of Avarice in hand as well, which doesn't do anything at all, because there's just 2 spell cards and a trap card in the graveyard. I wonder how he wants to compete with this. I mean, you have 8 cards in hand. Surely something you do is going to help you.
And also my prediction was off. There was no Reckless Greed picked up, so no free Reckless Greeds for the price of 1, but 2 already kind of good. Oh, and okay, the Heavy Storm now, of course. And it does resolve. No response. It was a Solemn Judgment and another Heavy Storm. Ay.
That looks like the players don't know what the other player is playing, or at least the Machina player. Usually when you're at this point in the tournament, you know what your opponent is playing. but setting a Heavy Storm there as a bluff versus a Frog deck is
The thing though
unusual.
is, I said it in the intro, the Machina player was here on our feature in top 8 and in top 4. Therefore, basically, since the beginning of Top Cut, he was in the featured match area to record his matches. Therefore, he was kind of separated from the rest of the field, and therefore, I would actually not be surprised if he does not know what his opponent is on. And that is a clear sign of it too. There is now Raikou on the set monster. Dandelion is going to give him 2 tokens, and I don't think there was anything worth noting that was sent to the graveyard. Nope, there wasn't. Just a Lila, but besides being a card you can shuffle back with Pot of Avarice, not much going on there.
Those tokens are huge, because now as you're on 4,400 life points, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you normal summon a Machina Gear Frame, it's only 4,300 damage that he can deal. So those tokens really prevent game here, basically. We kick for another 2,500 after all. We don't commit another monster to the field. Machina player must be happy with this situation. However, with this explosive start, you don't want to give your opponent more time. Again, however, there isn't going to be a draw phase here.
That's true, but the Machina player will hate to see that even though no draw phase, there is going to be 2 new cards picked up anyways due to the Reckless Greed that is set there. And I think we tribute set the Machina Fortress there most likely. Reckless Greed number 2. And the ruling on this is quite easy to understand. You only have to skip your next 2 draw phases still. It's like adding up together. Like 2 Reckless Greeds don't mean you have to skip 4 draw phases, but it just still is going to be the 2. And that's why drawing Reckless Greed when you already have resolved 1 is so good. Mystical Space Typhoon gets rid of the Bottomless Trapple, and now the Machina player, even though he's so far ahead in life points, in resources he's very far behind, and now Swap Frog onto the field.
That's where you start shaking, right? Because this is looking threatening all of a sudden. There wasn't a lot that happened before. Substitute is being sent to the graveyard. Wonder why that is. Salvage is being activated here, so you can add back 2 water monsters from the graveyard.
That is why, Leo. And now, with the substitute access, of course, the Pot of Avarice we had in hand since turn 1, essentially, is going to be so much more valuable. As you can see, substitute is just going to cycle through those frogs, bringing an endless amount of frogs into the graveyard, and then that makes the Pot of Avarice basically Pot of Greed, right? Because you just made all of those 5 monsters in the graveyard with 1 card, the substitute, and then the Pot of Avarice is going to give you 2 more cards after.
Yep, and then you just tribute all of those cards that you shuffled back into your deck again and activate the next Pot of Avarice. And then you just cycle through those cards again, so that's going to be a massive turn for them. Also, all of a sudden, yes, you took a lot of damage already, but the field and hand of the Machina player are completely diminished here.
They are. Mystical Space Typhoon there. Took care of the Bottomless Trapple, which could have not dealt with the monsters here anyways, because they're all so small. They're only little frogs. But still, it's good to have that safety ground. And Death Frog actually is a card that can get met with Bottomless Trapple, right? I think that one is big enough. Yep. So, good thing that we eliminated it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I love those ultimate rare swap frogs together with the ultimate rare Treeborn frogs. The OG variants. One from the OTS pack, one from the original. I think it's Shadows of Infinity. That was Treeborn frog, right?
Yeah, exactly. The set with the divine beasts of the GX era. So almost took the Pot of Avarice back to the hand, immediately discarded it, of course. Now we have another one in graveyard, so you can basically just cycle through those cards again, draw another 2 cards. Do we have the Fishborg Blaster in graveyard already? Is another important question that we have to ask ourselves. Also, why do we not have a quarter-century version of Deathstroke yet? It feels like that would be quite fitting here with the deck that our frog player is running.
For sure, it would definitely work out nicely in the deck he is running, because he's really just playing all those high rare cards for sure. Okay, Foolish Burial first, and that is our way to Fishborg Blaster. There it is. Yep. That makes things nicer and easier.
Yep, and now the this is also explaining why the Death Frog is in the deck, right? Because of course you have a power play. If you tribute summon it, you summon 2 more.
True.
If you have tadpoles in your graveyard, which you don't. But it's just levels basically, right? So with the other frogs, you need like 10 frogs to do a decent synchro summon. Death Frog is just so easy to summon, and it just immediately gives you access to Bryonic, to Goyo Guardian, because it wasn't errated back then. Oh, this looks like a huge turn. I can imagine that the turn is immediately over after this turn. I think we are trying to set up game here.
Indeed. Okay, we bring back Fishbog Blaster. Tributing it, though, for the Substitute here. Interesting to see.
Bro. That's a card.
It really is. Death Frog, okay. So we do have another high-level monster. We're really setting up here. Is that going to be multiple Synchro 6s? First of all, we want more cards in hand with another Pot of Everest. And you can see the Machina player shaking his hat, basically realizing how huge of a turn this is right now. He was so close to already winning this game number 1 here in the finals with bringing his opponent down so low. And then the Dandelion brought him another turn. And now that is the turn that he got here for free, basically. And that's the turn that might turn it all around.
We know which card is set on the side of the Machina player, right? It has to be another Fortress. So he tributed the Raikou and the Super Nimble Mega Hamster to set a monster. You can't set Machina Force. So I think we know that this is a Fortress, which is a defensive threat. However, Bryonic Bounce does a lot there. And I think... Oh, we summoned back the Fishbog Blaster. I think we already have game here with the Brain Control in hand. Brain Control going to get the Force, bounce back the set monster. And then we should be at a lot of damage already.
Goyo Guardian. Discards a 1-for-1 Fishbog Blaster number 4, I think. Still the same one, but it keeps on coming back.
Yep, Fishbog Blaster is a card that is no longer used in current TCG. We summon out the Swap Frog here. The card is forbidden, and for a reason.
Oh, wow. There is the Brain Control, as you were mentioning. This may as well be... Is that game, though? Hold on.
But we didn't bounce the set monster, and that is Machina Fortress.
True.
And when Fortress is being run over, you can pop a card.
Hold on. Swap Frog back to the hand. That is our way of using it. I was wondering about that as well, but clearly very well done. Swap Frog has not bounced itself yet back to the hand, so we can create another card in hand out of nowhere. Now the Substitute is going to activate one more time. Is there a way still to play around things here somehow? Because, I mean, yeah, you want to make sure that you don't lose to Gorse, I guess.
Yeah, but I don't think with no cards in hand, you can't play around Gorts at this point anymore. You're just trying to set up more damage. Attacks with everything, and that is game. Well, do we have Gorts as last card in hand? Gorts is so iconic. No way there is a Gorts. No way this is happening here. In the finals, after this impressive turn, there is just no way that there is a Gorse in hand. I think at this point you would have scooped if you didn't have it, right? Maybe Trigo.
I think we're just calculating very slowly here. Oh no, we're taking the second attack as well. Okay.
There's nothing to calculate. There's 4 monsters and all of them are around 2,000 or over 2,000 attack points. So that's easy math. Oh, I think we're going to want to have the token, so we're taking all of this damage. I mean, the problem is that Gorts, he kind of plays around Gorts, right? Because he attacks last with the Goyo Guardian.
It really is the Gorse! It is! Oh my, that's so strong.
Goyo Guardian just steals it.
That's true.
That's how you play around Gorts. You just don't attack with the Goyo Guardian until very last second. And then you just take the Gorts, which is a huge monster. However, the token, 2/5/2/5, also not too bad. But now, how do you get rid of the Goyo Guardian?
And they get the Machina Fortress back as well. This game is not over. I was sure it would be, but Gorse really was the card that he needed to stay in this game, to stay around. And he will have another turn here. We said the same thing about the Frog player last time. And he got that really, really strong turn, but he was not able to close it out. So now, again, that same situation for the Machina player. Can he get back into it?
Let's check. Ooh, I think if you crash your Fortress into Goyo Guardian, the Goyo Guardian actually, even though it gets destroyed by Fortress effect, should summon out the Fortress.
Yeah, you might be. I'm not 100% certain, but you might be right for sure.
Same.
But one thing that's also, of course, very noteworthy, no card drawn in the draw phase here of the Frog player. So if we find ourselves a way to take care of this, they are not going to have any cards in hand, so Fishball Blaster can't come back. Machina Gear Frame! Okay, we are having ourselves still a game number 1 here.
Oh, and he has another fortress in hand because it was previously bounced there. Oh wow, he can just summon out another fortress. He can take care of still only 2 of the monsters on the field. So he can run over Bryonic, no problem. He can run over Deathstroke, no problem. He can't run over the Goyo Guardian. He could. So I think maybe the approach to this turn, if we have figured out the Goyo Guardian ruling, is that you crash. If the Goyo Guardian theoretically doesn't summon the Machina Fortress, you could crash here and then summon back the fortress.
Okay,
later.
Token in attack position. That is confirmed now. And we're heading into the battle phase, it seems like. We do crash. Crashing it in there. Bringing our life points down even lower. Only 1,000 life points left.
Oh, and he's pointing to the Goyo Guardian. Does that mean I want to destroy a Goyo Guardian, or does that mean I want to activate my Goyo Guardian?
We'll soon find out.
I'm very happy that they do this, so we
can learn it as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the token will then, of course, run over the Bryonic. Gear Frame, unfortunately, is too small to run over Deathstroke for our Machina player. Frogs are in a bit of a pickle because the fortress is just so difficult to play around.
And now we're thinking about it. This is the most high-pressure match out of the entire tournament. This is the last match to be played, and immediately in game number 1, those players are showing us why they are the 2 final competitors here. And they are destroying the Goyo Guardian. And apparently they do not get to summon out the Machina Fortress, which is of course massively good for the Machina player here.
Yep, especially because not only there is less bodies on the field, because if your opponent has a Machina Fortress from you on their field, you can run over it and then activate the effect to pop. But you can just special summon this back from the graveyard without using the fortress in your hand. Wait! Why was there...
There was battle damage on the first attack, right? Somehow.
Oh! Oh! I get it now! He
Tell
never
me.
set a Machina Fortress. He tributed Raikou and the hamster for Gortz.
Oh, true! True, you're right. That all makes sense. Gorse, of course, you never see that usually, but it is a monster that can be tribute set for 2 monsters. It was a Gorse the entire time. True. I was so sure with you that it would be a Machina Fortress, because, yes, you would expect that. Okay. Turn back over.
Wait, that makes the pickup of Machina Gear Frame even more insane.
Yes, it really does. Gorse into attack position. Both players with 1,000 or less life points here. And dimensional pressure to take care of the Gorse. And we scoop that up. That is not even real. Game number 1. An insane game goes to the Machina player here. Wow.
Gortz really coming in the last second there. That was insane. That was a tribute to Gortz, the Emissary of Darkness. And this is also... of course, you can just summon out the Gear Frame again to attack over Treebound Frog and the Death Frog. And then you have another monster to punch, another monster to deal damage, and to win that game.
Leo, honestly, this was so exciting already for game number 1. I'm having... struggle to find out how they're going to top that, because that was already both players down to 1,000 or less life points, really turn by turn, both players kind of looking like they would win it, but then don't. Oh, and then giving them the Gorse back into the hand for them to then use it, for it to be the card for them to win the game too. Like, what was going on there? That was just...
That was... Perfect micro gaming from our Machina player, because he knew if I, there isn't going to be a surprise factor if I just normal summon this in attack position. If my opponent, I don't want to have my 200 attack point monster on the field, the Raikou. I don't want to have the Nimble Hamster on the field. So I will tribute them so I can go for game next turn with my Gords already, so they can't remove my small monsters. But if I normal summon it, they know it's a Gords. If I set it, it looks like a Machina Fortress. Perfect.
What a bluff, what execution, and it worked out. We're basically all just visitors to the theater that the Machina player has created here for YCS Birmingham. Nobody really playing the pure Machina version with all those Lightsworn cards and so on and so forth. He's playing Morphing Jar in this. This deck is absolute absurd, but it is also very effective and good, and that's why he's up a game here in the finals as well.
I love this, but we've also seen the strength of the Frog Synchro deck. Like, this came out of nowhere. Just took away every single card that the Machina player had, basically. That was a complete menace. They're just super unfortunate that the one card in hand was Gorz.
That is indeed true. The Gorz was the last card, and it really, really, really saved it there. Was a good last card to have there, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
It was really the one he needed.
Asti, you're always telling me that you're building every Time Wizard deck ever. Is this one the next on your list?
Honestly, I gotta say, you will not believe me because you keep on telling me that my fish deck is not that strong, but it is kinda similar playstyle-wise to my fish deck because it also is trying to get that one big turn. I'm also playing Fishbog Blaster in that fish deck, and then you're just trying to make big synchro plays. In the fish deck, you get all the monsters onto the field through Coelicant. In this deck, you have it a little bit easier by going through the motions with the frog monsters, which are just easier creating more monsters. So I like my synchro decks in 2010, because in 2010 those synchros were still quite new, honestly. So they were exciting to experiment with, and I'm still liking them today, I gotta say. So yeah, I might be switching over from frogs to this, not gonna lie.
I mean, Synchros came out in 2008, no?
I mean, 2 years. It's 15 years later. What are 2 years compared to 15 years? You know, that's such a short time frame.
I can't argue with that.
Basically, no time. But
yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I think it's always funny to see because we have to say he's basically playing a combo deck, right? And to me, always, I'm giggling when I'm saying he's playing a combo deck in Time was at April 2010 format, because compare a combo deck in that times to a combo deck nowadays. Like, it's yes, they're both combo decks, but yes, they're also just like combo decks on a completely different level. But I always like going for the combo deck approach, because I feel like in those combo decks in 2010, every card and every interaction is so valuable and important, and therefore I really value that. And also, you just catch the people by surprise, because a lot of people are playing 2010 to play those slower decks. Then you come there and you play the fastest deck in the format, and then they're going to be having problems against that.
And then there's also a lot of fun, right?
Yes, of course.
It's just also going for like these crazy combos that nobody expects, and you can see your opponent just starting to look sad because they know it's going to be over soon, and you just keep going at it. That's a lot of fun. I enjoy that quite a lot.
All right, game number 2. I'm sure we're going to enjoy that. And one more time, and please, someone in the comments of this YouTube video, let us know, why is Breaker the Magical Warrior so incredibly popular at the moment? Because we see it in everyone's side deck, and that's kind of a new thing for 2010 format. And we also see it here in the hand. Why though? What's the reason?
Deck, I understand.
Oh, because of Mask of Restrict, right? It's probably because of Mask of Restrict.
Sometimes, yes, but you also have like Twister and cards like that don't require you a normal summon. But the normal summon in this deck is not as important necessarily. Like, you can set up early, you can set your dupe lock up early, and then before you go completely crazy, you can then just use your Breaker the Magical Warrior to get rid of any kind of spell and trap cards. So there I definitely do get it.
Alright though, that is again first damage to the life points of the frog player, as we have Machina Gearframe attacking, and then 3 set cards after as well. I mean, 3 set cards though, working nicely against the Breaker. Maybe a Breaker trying to attack over the Gearframe and then also making sure to get rid of the spell and trap card. Or maybe, it is the Breaker, there you go. We talked about him, he's there.
That's a bottomless in my books. It's always a bottomless.
Oh, it's a solid
No
judgment.
way, no way, no way that happens, because I think I saw a spell card in the frog player's hands that really, really, really only has Solemn Judgment as an answer next to Starlight Road, and that is Heavy Storm.
Oh my. Does he have it? Really?
I think he might, but he also set a trap card that is not Reckless Greed the turn before.
Oh, he's passing!
So that's alright. I mean, there's not really cards that he can use in his hand. Right now.
Ooh, we're going quick. We're going aggressive again here with the Machina deck.
Oh, attack with both. Now we put in the damage here. Prison on the fortress. Are we going to respond to that? Trap stun, 2,500 more damage. We are very well within one attack range of game. 6,800 damage so far? No, that's wrong. 6,100 damage so far.
Yes. Indeed, they're down to 1,900 life points. Honestly, quite a similar situation to game 1. That feels like a replay of game number 1, because he also just very early on brought him down in life points. Now there's Mask up for his trick, though. That Heavy Storm will have to deal with that eventually, because otherwise that card is just going to dominate this final here too much. Is he going to be able to deal with it, though?
He also picked up Substitute. He also has a Breaker, the Magical Warrior, which would be a good normal summon run over the gear frame and then destroy Mask of Restrict afterwards. If he can buy a turn with this, and with also his set cards, that spell counter doesn't go on the card, my friend, then I think he might be golden.
He might be golden indeed. Attacks over it.
That's the most value you're ever gonna get out of a Breaker, the Magical Warrior, I'll tell you that.
I mean, seeing this interaction right there, I'm convinced. I'm convinced that Breaker is the best card of the format. Honestly. Sets 2 after. He still don't even have to use the Heavy Storm, but there's a Lila ready to deal with those set cards. Is there an answer to it? Oh, they go Battle Phase first, and I think I saw a Mirror Force, and there is a Mirror Force indeed! Oh my, goodbye to those monsters. 2 for 1 trade there.
And now even value-wise, this isn't the Machina player's turn anymore. Like, no pressure at all anymore, and all of a sudden a monster plus Substitute. This is a full Fiendsmith combo, basically. Honestly, maybe even more powerful at this point.
Ooh, we tribute the Breaker for the Substitute.
Yep, so you can set up all of your plays. We're in for a treat now, Basti, because this is gonna take a moment. We're gonna go through all of the frogs. We're gonna go through all of the cycling. Now the deck is essentially going to be halved by our frog player, sending all of those resources to the graveyard.
Back to the hand it goes. Normal summons the Uni, tributing that one too. Oh, it's only 3,900 life points, but do we get more damage onto the field here than just a simple attack from the Breaker? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, Deathstroke.
Oh, true, yeah, Deathstroke is there. Yeah, that's true. I always forget about Deathstroke being in this deck.
Yeah, and you can also... You can send the Fishbog Blaster to the graveyard somehow, no? Or does Swap Frog only send frog monsters? It has to be water monsters, right? Otherwise it just couldn't send Substitute.
Oh, what's there? There's DD Crow, though.
DD Crow!
As an answer to the Pot of Avarice. And we all know what that means. He's banishing the Dupe Frog, but that means the Pot of Avarice is not going to resolve here.
Yep, that's absolutely huge here.
They stay in the graveyard, only the Dupe Frog moves, and it doesn't move into the direction that he wanted it to move. So, are we just going in for 2,000 points of damage now? Looks very much like it. Yup, both go through. 2,000 indeed. Down to 1,900. Both players now, funnily enough, down to 1,900 life points. This is madness.
Yeah. Yep, now there is so much setup as well. Also a Raigeki break in hand, probably. Might also be a Reckless Greed. Frogs are just really controlling this game here. Maybe Tribute of the Substitute to summon out a Dupe Frog. So you don't get taken out by one Fortress attack. That seems reasonable to me.
It does indeed. Who can bring this one through? Only one card in hand. We have a dupe frog in defense position and a death frog. I think the situation looks better for the frog player right now, but we've said that plenty of times. It goes back and forth in this format, but it is not going any back again for the Machina player here, as we have a winner for game number 2, and that is our frog duelist.
Oh, that was a huge turn. The Breaker, the Magical Warrior, really popping off there. Maybe, I mean, we've asked these questions multiple times why this card has become more popular. It's not the fastest of all formats, and maybe the Breaker is just still a very good card.
And honestly, Leo, I have to say, this deck felt a little bit different there in game 2. In game 1, like, we saw all those draw cards, we saw like that one big push, and here in this game 2, it almost felt like a control deck. It almost was like a slow approach. He was playing all those value trading cards that are trading well into the opponent's field. It almost felt like he was playing a completely different strategy, to be honest.
Yep, I mean, he would have probably gone completely crazy if the Pot of Avarice wasn't denied by the DD Crow.
Fair, fair.
But this was sensational. Very well played. Also, keeping the Heavy Storm in hand until the very last moment. I think he never activated it, actually.
Nope.
Which is also something that other players wouldn't have played this patiently. Knowing exactly, hey, if my opponent has an out to my cards, I might lose, but I don't have to go in immediately. Like, he had a very clear plan of what his win conditions were, and he just went for it, and I respect that.
I respect that thoroughly as well. One last shuffle. Both players have played their hearts out throughout this entire tournament, successfully piloted themselves into the finals of this. They are trying to win a giant card for themselves of a very iconic Time Wizard card, but only one of them is going to be the winner of this, and it's going to all come down to this one game that they are going to play now, and our Machina player will be the one having the privilege to go first. So Leo, what's your prediction? Do you think we will see Machina as the new deck here, being the champion of Birmingham, basically?
No.
Okay.
The frog deck looks incredible. It reminds me so much of the Mass Driver Ronin Toadin frog deck that we knew from back in the day, just without those two cards. But it feels like it's just a similar deck, and that's just a few power levels above. I think that, like, there was a lot of pressure put on the frog player.
Oh, Trap does shoot though! And we have said that before. Activating that right away seems pretty strong. Oh, and look at this hand! It's 1-for-1 sell. That is not a card that they can activate besides the Dimensional Prison.
Yeah.
That Trap does shoot takes away the only card they could have played with there.
Okay, maybe I spoke too soon. This is now an absolute grim scenario. I think at this point you might actually want to set 2 cards when there is a set monster. If it's a Raikou, you want to keep your prison. You might as well also pass. That also works. And I think, yeah, we're going to see a rerun in the Machina strategy because you have to just run over this deck. You can't give it a lot of time. Ideal scenario for Machina. Oh, the Pachi!
One of my favorite cards. The Pachycephalosaurus is putting some damage in. What does that mean, huh? What does that mean? It's a cool looking card, don't you think? No special summons at all.
But now we get to set our powerful trap cards here. I think if you see that there is a Raikou, I think you want to set the Torrential Tribute here, bait basically the Raikou effect, and then get rid of the Pachy, which is like the first big threat, the Fossilia Pachycephalosaur.
Oh, sounds good to me. It is a Torrential Tribute. That's massive. And they do not have Trapstun to respect and answer it, but there is a Machina Fortress being sent to the graveyard.
I think also you might side out the Trapstuns in this matchup. After game 2, maybe
after
not
game
so
2,
much,
not so sure anymore. Yeah, exactly.
But your opponent might side the cards back out, you know?
Yeah, it's kind of a gamble.
Yeah, and now we picked up a monster. It was about time on the frog side. And 1/1 is...
Ooh, and we discard it for it. Oh, Solemn Judgment maybe? Does he... Mask of Restrict!
Mask of Restrict.
Wow.
That is huge, because otherwise Substitute could have tributed itself with the priority, with a player priority, and that is not the case anymore. Nice
Leo,
insights
should I tell you something? He knows every single card out of their hand. He knows there's nothing he has to be afraid of. So this is right now absolutely in the ballpark of the Machina player, because he is ahead in terms of knowledge about his opponent's
Yeah.
deck, about his hand, but he just needs the cards to execute now, of course.
I'm just curious to see why he did go for a Treeborn Frog there, because the Substitute isn't going to do anything. It's a phenomenal draw in the next turns if he ever gets rid of the Mask of Restrict. Maybe just because it puts up a little bit of a defense, but if a Raikou takes out the Substitute, it's not going to come back like a Treeborn Frog would.
And I mean, when they set a monster, you would always have to expect this to be a Raikou or a super
Hamster,
nimble Mega
yeah.
Hamster, yeah, for sure.
I love
So,
the
yeah,
full name of the card.
I do agree with
Super
you.
Nimble Mega Hamster.
It is super, and it is nimble, so
And it's
all
a Mega
that's up to me. It's very much Mega as well, for sure.
Alright.
Okay.
Our Machina player is taking his time for this turn. Of course, this is a rather complicated game state now that there's two set cards. You don't know which one is which. You know that one of them is very likely to be a Dimensional Prison, as we have seen that one before. Actually, we know. We don't know. It could be two bluffs, but still. What are you going to do in this situation? Are you going to set Gords again? No, Raikou's activated
Ooh,
here.
okay, okay. Are we hitting the Dimensional Prison here? No response. 1, 2,
No.
3. No good cards to the graveyard. And it was a bluff. It was Pot of Avarice. So we now for sure know that this is the Dimensional Prison there.
You know what would really slap right now? It would be a Caius.
And I think we drew
Oh,
another
is
spell card there.
What a Mystical Space Typhoon.
I think it is a Mystical Space Typhoon. I was
Wow.
not liking the fact that we draw another spell card, but it is one of the spell cards to turn around this game for sure.
This is just Samir Bashar versus Camilo Boglieri in Game 3, drawing the Mystical Space Typhoon for turn to answer the anti-spell fragrance in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. This is the MST from heaven here. From the top, Substitute is being sent to the graveyard. You can now just bounce back your Swap Frog. You could use Salvage. You haven't even Normal Sound. You now have Substitute plus a monster. Salvage is going to add back here. This is now it's every Frog player's dream here to just go crazy.
Absolutely is. Double Substitute. There is the normal summon. Any answer? Does not seem like it. We tribute the Swap Frog. And now we're off to the races. One thing though that is missing right now is still access to that Fishbog Blaster. And also, you gotta notice, in game 1, he always had so many cards in hand to get actual good use out of the Fishbog Blaster. Here though, he's kind of low on cards in hand, so... But he does also have the Pot of Avarice in hand, which is going to turn into some more cards later on, so I guess we're kind of fine.
That is true. If we find the access to the Fishbog Blaster. If not, we send the Dupe Frog away, or we special summon out the Dupe Frog and tribute it. We still have some frogs that can do stuff. So, I mean, you don't want to end on a Dupe Frog here, because that's something you might want to summon out of the deck. If you end on a frog, you activate Pot of Avarice, and then you shuffle the frogs back, and then you special summon out the frogs again. It's just... The Pot of Avarice can be so-so in this situation, because if you go through all of your frogs and you activate Pot of Avarice to shuffle them back, and you draw frogs, it's like, discards.
That's true. Is there a DD Crow again answering this? Does
Oh,
not
that
seem
would
like
be
it. This time we're getting the cards. This time we're getting the draws. Now carefully shuffling. As you say, sometimes it's weird. You put all of them together into the deck because that's just how you return those cards into the deck, of course. And then you shuffle and shuffle, and still they find their way back onto the top of the deck. Is he going to draw more frogs? Or is it something else that is more useful? Oh, I think we drew two trap cards there.
Yeah, that's just two cards that are going to be useful in a grind game, especially the Trap Stun could set up a big turn there. Wonder if we are maybe in later on turns see something like an activate Trap Stun and then perform your combo, because you can't chain Trap Stun to something like a Solemn Judgment.
100%. I think if you go for that big push with your deck,
Yeah.
there's no trading with the trap cards. You don't need to chain the trap stun to an activation of Torrential Tribute anymore to go for a 1-for-1 trade. When you're activating trap stun preemptively, you want to win that game that turn, and that's like your main purpose and your main idea there, for sure.
So we add back the Swap Frog. Set
After-
the Trap Stun.
After
Pass.
attacking for a little bit of damage. This is intense. We got some trap cards to defend ourselves now, but usually, regularly, of course, the Machina deck has bigger monsters to work with. So if we just finally get access to the Machina Fortress, which I still think is in the graveyard, we might be alright.
I'm gonna be honest, this feels like it's a Time Wizard 2010 deck versus a modern deck. Look, in the first games, he had pressure with the Machina cards, and that went well until the Frog players started playing the game, actually. And now he never had the big pressure. He just sets up his graveyard slowly, has some value plays, but you can't go toe-to-toe with the Frogs on value.
Yeah, that's really tough, for sure. So, checking the graveyard one more time. Just the combination of that Ronin Toad interaction, or that Substitute interaction, together with the Pot of Avarice is just so powerful, right? Just getting those Pot of Avarices off for free is madness.
Now imagine Mass Driver and Substitute. Ronin Toad. That was truly a time of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game.
Yep. Oh. Is it a Raikou? What are we doing? Okay, discard Machina Fortress. So there was none in the graveyard, apparently, because we summoned that from the hand, I'm pretty sure. But there is at least a fortress on the field.
I think there was one in the graveyard, but just discarding one fortress is not enough because you have to reach level 8 or higher.
Oh.
So I think we have one in the graveyard and two in the hand.
Right, oh, what do we hit? What do we hit? Oh, we do hit the prison. This time it's not the bluff. I mean, it's not necessarily a bluff with the trap stun, but trap stun is not a card that can stop them here.
Yeah, and now we activate Dupe Frog effect. We went for 200 points of damage, and we give our opponent a search. Which is, we're gonna get Flip Flop Frog, one of my favorite frogs. It looks so funny.
It does.
It likes to have a good time.
Also the name, Flip Flop Frog. Like, who doesn't love that? Wait, we did not attack with the Raikou,
wow.
I think. We did not attack with the Raikou, but we have the fossil Pachycephalosaurus.
Yeah, and that is big. Oh, we have one more trap that can get rid of a Pachy later on, but the Pachy is not necessarily a monster that needs to attack. And I think after seeing that you popped a prison, that there was a Mirror Force in the last game, you don't really want to attack with it, right? It's now a major win condition. This is the Machina player is heavily relying on those Floodgate-ish cards, having 10 of them in the side deck: Mask of Restrict, Fossilia, Dyna, Pachycephalosaur, Light Shadow, Light Imprisoning Shadow, and other cards. And yeah, I think you want to preserve these cards for as long as you can. Now Swamp Frog is attacking over Raikou for 800 whopping points of damage.
I think we're okay with that.
Yep. I was gonna say, are we prisoning that? I think not.
We're surely okay with this. 6,400 life points remaining for the Machina player. Actually, both of them very, very close in life points. And also, this match going on for quite a while now at this point.
I think he needs to preserve the Pachy. Just went for an attack motion here. Oh no, we're still in the Frog player's turn. Adding back to hand the Swap Frog.
Flip-flop!
The Flip-flop Frog. Alright.
We're flipping it into the face-down defense position because that is what flip-flopping does. And I mean, now you kind of... They must be running lower and lower on time here. Therefore, I think you have to kind of attack with the Pachy as well to get like the appropriate pressure onto the opponent. And therefore, that prison might be very, very strong. On the other hand, then they're still left with Machina Fortress, though, which is also not a bad card. And still applying pressure, of course.
Yeah, it's basically oh, yeah, that's big. I think if you're running low on time, I think attacking with Gear Frame is enough. You add back another force, so you have recursion once the Pachy gets removed. I think you put the Pachy in defense position. I cannot help but think that you have to protect it at all costs.
And
you
I
have
think
to protect it from possible
that's what he does. That's what he does. And I mean, we could also just summon out another fortress if we really wanted to. But no, Battle
Pachy
Phase.
is also affecting you.
Oh yeah, true. That's a very good point. Very, very good point. I said it's one of my favorite cards, and then I don't even remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, because in the decks that you play with it, you don't special summon it.
Yeah. Okay, so Machina Fortress attacking, and now, of course, considerations on whether we have to use the Dimensional Prison on this now.
And I mean, you should if it gets closer to time. Now, the Gear Frame is going to run over the Flip-Flop Frog. Flip-Flop Frog does bounce even when it's attacked.
Oh.
So now you have used your normal summon.
That is interesting, yeah. I mean, we knew about it being flip-flop frog, and we have to pass now. Okay. That gives some opportunities and possible ways to the frog player, who is now there with all those frog monsters in his hand. But can he get any value out of them is the question. There is Treeborn Frog in the graveyard, so if we can activate the set card there before the standby phase, we might be getting that out too.
Yeah.
And we can, of course.
Preemptively
Traps.
in the draw phase or in the standby phase, and then activate the Treeborn Frog still. I like that a lot. Now he has so many cards in hand. He has a Substitute, but he has no access to Fishbog Blaster. He has a Salvage. Can he go for any crazy plays here? There is a Banished Machina Fortress, a Gear Frame on the side of our Machina player.
Okay,
I mean, you can run over the Gear Frame, right? So that's always going to happen with Death Frog.
True.
There's not too many. There's actually quite a few frogs in the deck still.
But we immediately go for Death Frog. The frog, basically.
Yeah, exactly. The coolest frog of them all. Just, I think I like how every frog looks like very, very fantasy, and Death Frog is just very basic. It's just a dude. Just a little frog chilling there. Alright, we sent another Substitute because we don't want these in our deck anymore. Applying pressure with just the frogs now, I don't know if that is the game plan that will suffice for you. Because if you're just applying pressure with frogs, there's next turn going to be Fortress and a Pachi.
It would indeed, because then we could summon the Fortress first and then the Pachi after. Now there is Salvage. Oh, I think timeout is announced. We're looking at the life points here, and we see that the Frogs player is ahead in life points, and therefore Frogs do win the Ultimate Time Wizard Tournament here in Birmingham.
Oh, Frog Synchro. This time just pure frogs winning this game is absolutely phenomenal. What a cool showing of both of these duelists, the Machina deck and the Frog deck, of course. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This was the Ultimate Time Wizard Tournament of the YCS Birmingham. Check out all the other rounds as well, and we can't wait to see you at the next Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series.